So we're gonna do a little bit of holiday baking today. I have a whole menu set and I figured we'll start with dessert first. A tip always is if you decide you wanna make a dessert, don't make it that day. Try to make something you can make the day ahead. It'll keep things simple on the day when everyone is, coming over and you wanna have dinner on the table. Your dessert can be ready ahead and you don't have to worry about it. So today we're gonna be doing an olive oil cake. And I have these fresh blackberries. It's blackberry season still here on Long Island. And so I've been getting these off of the bush in the yard, or rather I should say Anthony's been picking them for me. But I've been baking with them and I've been using them on my yogurt and everything, and they're delicious. So I've been really enjoying this olive oil cake and I figured you might like it too. It can be made with any type of fruit. It doesn't necessarily need to be blackberries. You can make it without fruit, or you can bake it and then the day you serve it, you can add the fruit on top and some fresh whipped cream. So there's a million ways to use it. But in the meanwhile, we're gonna get started. And the first thing to do is we get some sugar in the bottom of your mixing bowl. You can use a regular hand mixer or you can use your stand mixer, whatever works best for you, but definitely some type of an electric mixer works. And this is 1.3 cups of sugar. And I'm also going to zest some lemon on here. Now we're going to zest lemon to go into the first part of it, and then you're going to juice the rest of the lemon to go into the last part of it, but we'll go over that together. So first I'm going to just zest the lemons right into the bowl. Now I have rinsed these lemons. Anytime you're going to be using the zest, you definitely want to make sure they have a rinse first. This smells so good. So make sure you just do the outer layer, don't go down to the white part. Now we had olive oil. Olive oil cake has been popular for a while now, but when we were in Italy, one of the chefs that came to the house to cook with us brought with her apples and olive oil, and she made an apple cake with olive oil in it, and it was so good, and then had powdered sugar on top. It actually reminds me of the consistency of a cheesecake, obviously without any cheese in it though. All right, one more. Okay, so now that we have zested the lemons, I'm going to use my handy dandy juicer because when you have more than 1 or 2 lemons to juice, this is just so much easier. And then the juice of this lemon will just give this olive oil cake the most delicious flavor. And then it's all natural. If I'm just doing 1 or 2 lemons, I just use the hand juicer, but this is so much better. Now some of this juice we will put into the batter itself, and some of it we will save for the end, and then we'll mix it with a little blackberry jam for a glaze that you put over the cake after it comes out of the oven. Now I actually might not need all of these lemons. I am going to juice them all, but I'm thinking I only need about 1/3 cup of lemon juice for the batter, and then just a couple tablespoons for the other. But I'll juice that because you can keep the lemon juice in the fridge for a couple days. So I have 1.3 cups of white sugar, and I have the lemon zest of 4 lemons. I have juiced the rest of the lemons, and some of this will be going into the batter. But I'm also going to sift my dry ingredients before I get too far along. So I have 1.3 cups of flour. Now I'm using gluten-free flour just because that's usually what I use at home, but you can use whatever kind of flour that you like. And this is 1.3 cups of almond flour. This cake can be made with all white flour if you like, if for some reason you don't use nuts. But in gluten-free baking, I enjoy to do a little bit of both. It keeps it nice and light. We're also going to be sifting, this is 4 teaspoons of baking powder. And we just need a tiny little bit of salt, just like 1/8 teaspoon. And then I'm going to use my spatula just to sift it through the sifter. Now, sometimes you may be tempted to skip the sifting, but don't do that because the sifting part is really what will make a nice light cake, and it will get any lumps out of any of the flour that happen to be there, and it really makes a difference in the end. So take the extra moment and use a sifter. Now this sifter, of course, everything has to go back to France. This I bought at E. de Hillerin in Paris. And I'm so glad I did, because Anthony's like, what are you gonna do with it? I'm like, no, I'm gonna use it. And honestly, I do use it. I love it. Plus, every time I see it says Paris, I remember our vacation. It has this nice little mesh in here, and it really sifts nicely. You'll see how great that looks. Okay, so we also need about, I think this is about 7 ounces of olive oil, which is about a cup. These little cans have really nice olive oil in them, but you can use whichever one you like. I've also used a flavored olive oil. You can use the lemon if you're making a lemon cake, or you can use, they have orange, there's all sorts of infused olive oils, and they can be used, to make a nice taste. All right, so I have my olive oil, I have lemon juice, which we're going to use about 1/3 of a cup in here. The rest we're going to save. And this is Greek yogurt and sour cream. I have a cup of each. But first, we're going to get this going. You just want to mix the sugar with the lemon zest. And then one by one, you will put the egg in. Once that gets kind of incorporated. I'm going to give this a little mix. Wow, it's lemon sugar. It smells so good. All right, so we're going to be getting 6 eggs in here, and I'm going to do one at a time. Okay, now that's going to go until it's really nice and light and fluffy. So that's going to take a couple minutes, and maybe within another 30 seconds you'll stop it and scrape it down. That's got to go until it starts to double. So this is definitely going to take a couple minutes. So give yourself some time. Don't rush the process. It's got to lighten a little bit, and it will kind of almost double in volume. Okay, so now that we have whipped up the sugar, we are going to add in the sour cream and the Greek yogurt. So that was 1 cup of sour cream and 1 cup of Greek yogurt. No way this cake can be dry with all of these delicious ingredients. Definitely not low calorie, but it's the holidays. So we're not expecting low calorie here. And we're going to put in all of this olive oil, which, like I said, is about, I think it's a little less than a cup of your favorite good quality olive oil. And then we're going to do, I think we'll do a 1/4 cup of the lemon juice. All right, we're going to give that a nice mix. So this is definitely a thinner batter, but it bakes up really nice. I have prepared this pie dish with some olive oil, so this way the cake doesn't have a chance of sticking to it. Okay, so it's nice just to stop the mixer for a minute and make sure that everything is incorporating nicely, and scrape up the bottom. Once everything is mixed together, we're going to put the dry ingredients in, pop it into our pie plate, and it will go into a 350-degree oven for probably about 50. But halfway through, I'll turn the pan around, take a peek at it, and at the halfway mark is when I'm going to put the blackberries on it. I don't put them on now because they'll sink all the way to the bottom. And I don't wait to the very end because then they don't bake in at all. So halfway through is the perfect time to do that. All right, so once that's going, we're just going to add our dry ingredients and give it a quick mix. Nice and gently, just to incorporate. All right, and then I'm going to fold it the rest of the way. Almost like when you're making biscuits, you don't want to overdo the mixing at that point when you put the dry ingredients in. So you're just going to gently fold. It actually reminds me almost of pancake batter. That's what it reminds me of. It's a nice light batter, light cake. It's so delish. not going to overfill it. I probably will have a little bit left over. All right, here you have it, and you can just kind of give it a gentle tap on the counter so any air bubbles will pop to the top. But like I said, it really isn't going to matter because you're going to pop some blackberries on there. Okay, so we have this gorgeous lemon olive oil cake that's popping into the oven. I have the oven preheated to 350, and I'm going to bake this for about 50 minutes total time. But at the 20-minute mark, I'm going to check on it, and I'm going to probably put some blackberries on top and pop it in for about another 20 to 30 minutes. Okay, so our olive oil cake, or it's in a pie dish, so maybe it's a pie, but it is in the oven. It's been in the oven about 20 minutes, and I'm going to take it out. We're going to put some blackberries on it, turn the whole pie plate around, and pop it back into the oven for probably another 30 minutes, but we're going to check that now. So the whole idea to do it this way is so that the blackberries don't sink into, they're going to sink a little bit, but they don't sink all the way to the bottom of your cake, which is what would happen if you just plopped them into the batter. Then they would be in the cake and not on top. Now again, like I said, you can do this with any kind of berries that you like. You can do this with strawberries, raspberries. I think you could do any kind of fruit that you like. And I'm not completely covering this up. I bet you this is probably about a pint of blackberries. These are the most amazing blackberries. This year the bushes really were abundant with blackberries. All right, I feel like I don't want to cover it all up. And then as it bakes, these will probably settle in just a little bit, and that's going to be a beautiful dessert. So now we will pop this back into the oven for about another 20 to 30 minutes. I do think it's going to take another 30 minutes. So even though I'm saying 20 to 30 minutes, I believe it's going to take 30 minutes because this is a pretty full pie. Okay, time to get the pie out of the oven, or the cake. I don't know, I'm calling it a pie now. Cake or pie. Oh my gosh. Wow. That looks delicious. So, see how the blackberries stayed on top nice? I'm going to give it a couple minutes to cool, and then we will glaze it.